afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Bright Heart Mystic Oracles. I'm Bright Heart, and I just wanted to do a quick reading today. It is Monday, June 3rd, 2024. I can't believe it's already June 2024. Time does definitely fly, doesn't it? Anyway, so I just felt kind of guided to a couple of decks today. This first one is called the Divine Abundance Oracle Cards by Tasha Silver. Art by Fina Gonzalez. Apologies if that's not the right pronunciation of the name. And it's a lovely, lovely deck. And a second deck that it's one of my favorites, is the Dream Weavers Oracle by Colette Baron Reed, illustrated by Joel Nakamura. Also, just a really cool, I just really like this deck because it's got just really interesting and like cool, fun kind of pictures. So I just kind of felt pulled. So let's see what Great Spirit has for us today. Spirit angels, ancestors, ascended masters. What is the message for the collective? What do we need to know today? What do we need to know today from the Dream Weavers Oracle? I think of it at, what's the word I'm trying to think of when I think of this oracle? Whimsical. Whimsical is the word. I find the pictures and everything in these cards very whimsical. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. I'm taking a little time to get messages. So let's see here. Hope everybody had a really nice weekend. In the area of the country I'm in the United States, it was actually like a really nice, beautiful weekend. So, and I think it's pretty nice out today as well. Summer is on its way. Okay, there's one card. Anything else, Great Spirit? Any other messages from the Dream Weavers Oracle? Okay, I got to think this one. All right, now let's get our cards from the Divine Abundance deck. What is our Divine Abundance message? And it's interesting because some other readers that I listen to, I've been hearing a lot about this concept of abundance and things kind of freeing up in June. It has definitely been a theme I've been hearing. So I thought that was one of the things that made me feel like today is a good day to utilize the Divine Abundance cards, since that seems to be kind of a theme for what's going on with kind of the energies right now. So let's see what message Great Spirit, ancestors has to give us in, oh, I feel like that one. Okay. Any more? I think that one. Okay. All right, so let's see what we got here. I feel like I'm supposed to look at these cards first. Okay, so the first one, oh, look at these. So the first one from the Divine Abundance deck is Liberation. How interesting, with what I was just saying about how abundance seems to be a theme for the next few weeks. All right, that looks like a dragonfly. In my Native American traditions, dragonfly symbolizes illusion. So I feel like this may have something to do with letting go of illusions. Also, this card, look, it has a lot of green in it. A lot of green. Oh my goodness. So a few messages that I'm getting. Green. Okay, so get out in nature. The green. Get your toes in the dirt. I was just with a friend this weekend and we were out visiting a museum outside and saying, oh, we got to get together soon and just put our feet in the grass. It's so healing and important. And for people like me who spend way too much time in my head and behind my computer doing paperwork, it feels particularly important to be able to do that. So yes, there's the green. And then the dragonfly illusion, I'm thinking that I'm kind of getting the message that it's a combination of some of the things we think about ourselves, particularly things that are negative are illusion. So please be open to the possibility that some of the things you've really thought about or even maybe built your identity around in a negative, kind of a negative, like I have to do this or have to do that, or it's absolutely true that I'm X, Y, Z, whatever. Like, maybe allow yourself a little bit of space to allow that might not be totally true. There may be some illusion behind that. And that can be quite liberating when one is able to even create this little bit of space for a new possibility. And speaking to myself too, this definitely applies to me. Interesting. Also, green has a lot to do with the heart chakra. So I feel that this also may be liberating our hearts in certain ways, like being more open to things that matter to us. And see, even the message here, the doubts and fears still come up. You don't believe anymore that they're you. I like that. That's a very nice message because, yes, even when we heal certain things or are going through a process of healing, we often still experience some of those things coming up. And for people who've struggled, like me, who've struggled with perfection most of my life, there's a part of me that when an old doubt and or fear comes up, another part of me immediately goes, oh, see, didn't work. I tried this, I tried that, da, 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 da. None of it worked. I'm still having the doubt and fear. Forget that. That's so me for like many, many years. But I think what this is saying is that it's okay. Even the doubts and fears are still going to come up sometimes, but you don't get as pulled into them, or it doesn't last as long. Or like it says here, you don't believe anymore that they're you. They're not absolute. That's one of the things I love about the dragonfly, of it like bringing out, making us aware of illusions and things like that. So what a lovely message. I like that very much. Okay, the second Divine Abundance card is individuality. Let's see here. Okay, so this is interesting with this reddish color on this card. Makes me think somewhat of the root chakra, which is interesting because to me that's foundational, and almost saying you can trust the foundation of things, like you're safe. You're always safe. You're always protected. And that somehow the individuality of yourself really comes from that foundation somewhat. And it's important to like understand that and honor that. It's kind of the feeling if it's important to honor that. And I get this feeling, look at all the birds in this card and how each bird is a different color. There's a blue, like the bright blue, that very lighter blue, almost slate gray, the kind of light purple, the light green, the red. There's all these different colors of the birds, and how the message is every person has their own personalized study plan in this Earth School. So I kind of get the feeling this is saying like, you are you. There's no one else like you. And you have to trust yourself and what you know to be true and what you learn to be true. And that makes sense to me going along with the liberation concept, because there's a way in which allowing ourselves to understand more about our own path and our individuality, as it says here, is actually liberating. And sometimes we have to become more liberated before we can really understand our individuality as well. So I feel like that's kind of a double message. but I think that's a beautiful message for divine abundance, liberation, and individuality. And when you think of abundance, because a lot of people think about abundance as having to do with financial stuff, which is part of it, absolutely. But I love how this deck frames abundance within the context of all of these different life experiences and these different concepts and ideas and even feelings or pathways. I like this individuality, a certain way of being or a way of seeing things. And then liberation as an opening up of being able to do things in a new way. So what a beautiful message. All right, let's see what the Dream Weavers Oracle cards messages are for today. Let me put these, actually, I'm just going to set these up over here. Okay. This little stand, so we have them sitting there. I'm not sure people can really see them, but okay. So our first Dreamweaver Oracle card is When Coyote Calls Your Name. Okay, when Coyote calls your name. Very interesting. When Coyote calls your name. Okay. And that is number, is that number 3? Number 3. Interesting. When Coyote calls your name. And the second one, oh, is number 4. If the river flows this way. So 3, we have a 3 and a 4. And on this one, I probably will consult the guidebook a bit because this one, it's fairly new, so I don't know it as well as some of the other decks. And it always has interesting messages as well. But let me see what I pick up intuitively before we seek out the guidebook. When Coyote calls your name. Huh. Okay, well, the first thing I think of with Coyote, in the Native American tradition, Coyote is Trickster, the kind of divine trickster, divine buffoon. In fact, it's interesting because I actually do talks on Native American spirituality, and I have a talk that I do that actually centers around Coyote and kind of how it, a lot of things going on in the world today feel like there are elements of kind of the trickster Coyote element. So that's very interesting. So part of me feels like this could have something to do with some kind of deception. However, I don't get the feeling that it's like this heavy, terrible, like, oh my gosh, scary kind of deception. It's more of a, almost like a ha-ha, oh, the joke might be on you around something that you thought about yourself or someone else or a situation that maybe you perceived in a really heavy way, but actually will work out better if you're a little more like lighthearted or open about it. That's kind of the feeling I get. And then you can see kind of this figure, this blue figure, going down into like near the coyote's mouth. And that is interesting because on the one hand, that almost makes me think of a lizard, which is often signifies by dreaming or daydreaming. So it could be that one needs to put their dreams out there more. See how the opening the mouth, the coyote, it could be that if a person is having a lot of dreams about something, it might be pay more attention to your dreams. It can also be don't be afraid of your dreams. I'm kind of getting both of those messages. Interesting. And then I just had a thought about somehow that someone is afraid of putting something out there that is a dream of theirs, okay? Because they're afraid that they might look foolish or that like someone might make fun of them or something. But look how these two hands are here too. These hands are like holding this ball right above Coyote it's almost like something being balanced. And I also feel like that's some kind of protection. So there's some kind of protection that's saying, no, you are safe to put out there like the things that are important to you and the thing that you're dreaming about. Very interesting. Let's also look at the book for a minute and see what they say, what the guidebook says about when Coyote calls your name. Okay, interesting. The guidebook says the essential meaning of this card is divine detours, the value of not getting what you think you want, discovering greater treasure when you're forced to change course. Oh, that's interesting. So that kind of feels consistent with what I was thinking about the a little bit of the maybe deception, how it not being like this necessarily heavy kind of heavy deception, but something that could get in the way of what you're wanting to do. Okay, let's see what they say. Sometimes you find yourself confused about your direction. Oh, here we go. You might have been so sure that you were meant for this situation, this love, this job, or this thing, yet you're forced to walk away. Okay, so it's about how things are not turning out the way you wanted or expected, but it also says when Coyote calls your name, you're being a great gift. The apparent lost detour or change of course has been set in motion to give you what you truly need. The dream weavers, there you go, the dream weavers, that makes sense with the lizard above, know the truth in your heart. They know the perfect reflections of your greatest dreams are already available and woven into the fabric of your life. So it's, in essence, what the guidebook's saying is that the things that you're wanting are meant to come in a different form than the one you've become attached to. So surrender your expectations, but you're safe. See, you're safe. It's almost, it feels to me very consistent with the liberation and individuality cards as well, because it's like you're going to be freed up to do something even better than what you thought, and be, as long as you're open to not necessarily knowing exactly how. This reminds me a lot of the, well, it's interesting. It's the Fool card in the traditional tarot, as well as the Magician in the tarot deck that I used for many years, the Mythic Tarot. The Magician was signified by Hermes, and in that case, it was Hermes, the Greek god. And in that card, it was considered the guide. So it was kind of like that part of you inside that always knows kind of which way to go. It was very intuitive. So you might be moving in a certain direction and you're so focused on that direction, and then all of a sudden there's a crossroads, and this knowing part of yourself's like, no, you got to go this way. And another part of you's like, no, I don't want to do that. Ego. I've already made up my mind what I want, etc., etc. And so part of you's horrified watching as another part of you's like, no, I know, this is the way we got to go. So it's that kind of energy, which actually definitely makes sense. So it's basically saying, yeah, you're on a good path and you're going to get what you want, but you have to surrender to it not happening necessarily exactly the way that you want it to. Okay. Wow. Interesting. Okay, let's look at the next card. If the river flows this way. Okay, this is the number 4. The number 4. So, and it's interesting, the 3s, I'll go back to the Coyote for a minute. Sorry, I'm all over the place. The 3s often are initial completions and divine guidance. 3s often signify ascended masters. So I find that interesting as well. And I think of initial completion, again, there might be something you were thinking about that you wanted to go a certain way. So you might have even initially gotten to a certain point on something, and now it's going in a different way. Or it's ascended masters kind of got leading and supporting you. Then 4s are sometimes what we call divine discontent, but they can manifest in different ways. Like when I think of the 4 of Swords is definitely a going inward and a rest and rejuvenation kind of card. That could definitely apply here, especially with the 3 of having the Coyote saying, you know, be careful what you want. What you're needing may be coming in a different way. And the 4 being right after that 3 can be like, ooh, got to take a little step back. And it can be painful. You know, it's very easy to get attached to certain things. We want things to go a certain way. And when they don't, it can be difficult. We sometimes have to let go of expectations, and we have to feel our feelings. And it's okay to kind of feel sad about those things. So the 4 kind of makes sense too. 4s can also be beautiful, as in the 4 of Wands, which is a celebration of something that you love or are passionate about, something like that. So I find it interesting that it's the 3 and the 4. So if the river flows this way, the other thing I get the feeling that this is kind of saying like, go with the flow. So, in listening to, for many years, off and on, I've listened to Abraham Hicks and how they always talked about, you know, downstream, like going with the flow and letting things move downstream. I kind of get this feeling too. So after this message from the Coyote, just surrender and letting things unfold and flow in the manner that they naturally want to flow is more likely to help you on your path. And I love how it has these 2 hands kind of like on the sides of the river. So I feel like that's almost this kind of like protection or guide. And you've got those eyes. So it could even be the 3rd eye of the intuition sitting there and like protecting, not the word protecting is not the word I'm looking for, but like encasing, supporting the river. So it'd be like the banks on the side of the river, that those hands are there, keeping the river like flowing in the right direction. And then you've got these creatures that obviously have some elements of fish, and even fish have to do often with abundance. In fact, one of the readings I was listening to earlier today, how interesting, the reader actually was talking about fish and abundance. So I get the feeling, that's interesting, that can have to do with abundance. And then our whole reading is about divine abundance as well. So, and you know, surrendering, letting go, and not trying to control everything is very in line with this idea of liberation as well. When we let go, and look how even look at the colors, how they're so similar on the liberation card, all of that green, and then you get all this green here in the river. Very interesting. Let me also look at the guidebook for a second. Let's see what it says. If the river flows this way. Okay, I was right. Essential meaning. The importance of going with the flow, feeling the sense of being one with the currents of life, trusting you will never drown, as your destiny wants you to go this way. Oh my goodness. Okay. What a fascinating message. The flow state is a way of surrendering and trusting the benevolent forces of life. Right now, you're being invited and guided to go with the flow, to allow the currents of life to move you forward. You don't need to struggle, to plan or strategize, to resist or push. This is not about effort. This magical river knows where it's going and where you fit into its plan. No matter if the water becomes choppy or feels like it's carrying you away, you will not drown. It's about allowing. Makes so much sense. It's about allowing. Wow, what a wonderful message. Okay, so there you go. I mean, I just feel like this is a really lovely message for today. It feels like it's cohesive about being liberated from things that may have like held you back, caused you stress, things like that, and that there is a plan for your individuality, for you to be who you are. Everyone has their own personalized study plan in this Earth School. How cool is that? Everybody has a purpose. Wow. And you may have been wanting or moving towards certain things that aren't really part of the plan and finding yourself struggling or finding things not working out the way you want. But just keep in mind, there's a plan of how it's supposed to work out. So trust that. Relax. Go with the flow. You don't really have to do anything. You just have to be more in tune with the flow. And it feels like everything will move to the next phase of where it's supposed to move to. So there you have it. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. And we will be back in touch soon. And if you're so inclined and are enjoying this content, resonate with it all, please feel free to subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. This is a new channel. I'm just getting it off the ground, but I'm very excited about the future. Okay, everybody have a wonderful day, and I will talk to y'all soon. This is Brightheart saying goodbye for now.